Hey man, say man, it's your boy DAA man, Daylight TV. Back at y'all with another Mafia Material Mobcast. Episode number 69. Not the snitch. Hit that like and subscribe button, smash that notification bell if you're really mopping with the content. And we're gonna get right into it, man. You know. Uh First story we gotta talk about. All appeals exhausted. C Murder's final stand. Or is it? Will the governor have a last chance to do some good for the homies? So yeah, man, let's talk about what's going on with C. All right. Um. So for over 2 decades, the name Corey Miller, better known as C Murder, has been at the center of one of hip hop's most controversial legal battles. But as of February 2026, the music has officially stopped somewhat. The courts have spoken, and for the No Limit rapper, True Forever, the road has hit a dead end. You know what I mean? Um, Today we're breaking down, a massive update in the C Murder case. The Louisiana Supreme Court just handed down a unanimous ruling that effectively seals Corey Miller's fate, as he has officially exhausted every legal appeal available. Now, does this mean he's spending the rest of his life behind bars? Unfortunately, most likely. But there's one tiny political needle he still has to thread. So let's get into this shit. So the exhausted ruling, right? On Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, the Louisiana Supreme Court delivered a 7-0 unanimous decision. They ruled that Corey Miller has exhausted his right to state collateral review. In plain English, he's out of moves. The court said his latest attempt to overturn his 2009 conviction failed to meet the strict standard for a successive appeal. You know what I mean? He's been trying to use two main arguments for years. One, that the key witness recanted their testimony, saying police pressured them to lie. And two, the infamous Jim Crow jury issue. Now, what's the Jim Crow, jury gap? But this is where it gets complicated. So C Murder was convicted by a 10-2 jury vote. In almost every other state, that's a mistrial. In 2020, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that these non-unanimous verdicts are unconstitutional. But here's the kicker. They also ruled that the decision doesn't apply retroactively to old cases, that were already closed. That's some bullshit. Now, last year there was a glimmer of hope. Senate Bill 218 was introduced into the Louisiana legislature to allow people like Miller to get a new trial. But in May of 2025, that bill was crushed in a 9-26 vote. So without a new law, that 10-2 verdict stands like stone, nigga. Now, the advocacy, versus the reality. We've seen heavy hitters step in. Kim Kardashian, Monica has been, and Monica too, they've been incredibly vocal, funding legal teams and keeping Miller's name in the headlines. But as powerful as celebrity advocacy is, unfortunately, it can't rewrite the law. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are people saying, we can't forget the other side of the story. The family of Steve Thomas, the 16-year-old fan who lost his life that night in 2002, has remained firm. They consistently, opposed his release, stating that justice was served nearly 20 years ago. Which is like, wow. Because I don't know. Like, in 2002, the internet wasn't what it was. We didn't have access to the thing that we get, and the news wasn't repetitive. So if that shit didn't drop in the Source magazine or Vibe or Double XL, Blaze, all that shit, you know what I mean? Like, we just didn't know, So what's left? If the courts are closed and the legislature, won't act, there's only one door left: executive clemency. Corey Miller has to petition the Louisiana Board of Pardons. If, and that's a massive if, they recommend him for mercy, the governor of Louisiana had the power to commute his sentence or grant a full pardon. But in a conservative leaning state with a high profile murder case and a grieving family involved, that is a political mountain that almost no politician in Louisiana, at least, is going to try to climb. I would be surprised if they did, just, knowing the history of Louisiana. Now, C. Murder is now 54 years old, bro. He spent a significant chunk of his life behind bars. I remember when, he got out on the appeal bond, you know what I'm saying? And he assigned to Bromie Jason Lyric, OGJ Lyric out of New Orleans. Shout out Lyric. I know bro got to be feeling that shit, man. But yeah, unless the governor picks up a pen or a brand new law passes tomorrow, the No Limit legend, Mr. TRU himself, will serve the rest of his natural life in a Louisiana prison, dog. That's fucked up. I mean, it's fucked up somebody lost his life. I just, I don't know, bro saying he innocent. You know what I mean? What do y'all think? Should the Jim Crow jury, law be retroactive for everyone? I think so. But see, them niggas don't want to have to go back and clean up all that mess, especially in Louisiana. They say in Louisiana they got more people locked up than anywhere in the country. And some people have argued the world. Or, you know what I'm saying? Do you feel like should like the, finalities should be respected for the sake of the victims? That's the whole thing on the either side. You know what I mean? And it gets tricky because here's the whole thing. People will build this sentiment. They have a sentiment for C Murder because they're fans of C Murder. You know what I'm saying? They don't really know who Steve Thomas is outside of him being the alleged victim or the person that they're alleging C murder. And I'm still saying allegedly because at the end of the day, bro, none of us were there. And then the witness recanted the whole statement. You understand? Like the jury is lopsided. Like this is a sloppy ass case. Like most lawyers would say, will refer to this as there's shit in the blood of the case. You know, but I'm gonna keep a close eye on the governor's response to any clemency petitions and update y'all, you know, if the Board of Pardons actually schedules a hearing. You know, there's a petition that goes out that, you know, could really help, bro. I'll be sure to post it so that y'all could go and support C Murder. I know it's looking kind of grim right now, but free C Murder, man. You know, definitely free C Murder. But yeah, man. Like I said, that's our spill, man. C Murder. All appeals exhausted. Up to the governor now. Do the right thing, you know, have some mercy. Cause you know the crazy thing about it is, so clemency, you know, the clemency shit worked like this. So if he had the sentence, you know, a commutation, that just means that they'll lessen the time. So instead of life, he might get hit with like 25 years, right? Now, he already been in there since 2000. Well, he had time served because, you know, he was in there before and then he went back in 2009. So the whole thing is if they can knock that shit down to say a 25-year, 20-year, you know, sentence, then, you know, homie can see some light. You know, unless he still has all the time served like that counted from the first time, you know, when the shit first happened in 2002. But then in that case, like off and on, he been in prison 24 years. You know what I'm saying? So if he get 25, like, I mean, he damn near be out of there. But, you know, we're going to keep praying for C, man. You know, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button, you know, below. Mafia Material Mobcast, episode 69.